The Roman Empire was a place where gods and mortals walked hand in hand, where marble temples scraped the heavens, and where the roar of the Colosseum echoed through the ages. But beneath its grandeur, Rome was a city of shadows where senators plotted in whispers, where emperors ruled with an iron fist, and where ambition often turned to bloodshed. Today, we're diving into the most epic stories of the Roman Empire, where the line between heroism and tyranny blurred, and where the fate of civilization hung in the balance. Our journey begins with a man who would change Rome forever: Julius Caesar. He was a general, a statesman, and a visionary who believed he was destined for greatness. But the Senate saw him as a threat, a man who wanted to be king. On the Ides of March 44 BCE, Caesar walked into the Senate, unaware that his own allies had turned against him. "Et tu, Brute," he whispered as Brutus plunged the final dagger into his heart. Caesar's assassination shocked the world, but it also set the stage for the rise of Augustus, who would become Rome's first emperor. Augustus ruled with wisdom, bringing peace after decades of civil war. But the rot of corruption and madness began to eat away at Rome's foundations. Nero, the emperor who fiddled while Rome burned, was a man consumed by madness. He had his own mother executed, blamed Christians for the fire that gutted the city, and built a golden statue of himself taller than any temple. His reign of terror ended when he stabbed himself in the throat as soldiers closed in to capture him. Then there was Caligula, the emperor who made his horse a consul and declared himself a living god. He was so paranoid that he built a bridge of boats across the Bay of Baiae just to prove he could walk on water. His reign of absurdity and terror lasted only 4 years before he was stabbed to death by his own guards in a dark tunnel beneath the palace. But not all emperors were madmen. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, ruled with justice and compassion. He spent his reign fighting wars on the frontier, writing meditations that would become timeless wisdom, and trying to hold together an empire on the brink of collapse. Yet even his reign was marked by tragedy: the plague that wiped out millions, the constant wars, and the succession of his son Commodus, who would bring Rome back to the brink of chaos. Commodus was a man who believed he was the reincarnation of Hercules. He fought in the Colosseum as a gladiator, had statues of himself erected in every temple, and ordered the Senate to worship him as a god. His reign was a descent into madness, until one day a conspiracy unfolded. A wrestler named Narcissus strangled him in his bath, ending the dynasty of Marcus Aurelius and plunging Rome into civil war. By the 3rd century, Rome was in crisis. Emperors rose and fell like autumn leaves, each one overthrown by generals hungry for power. The empire was divided, the economy collapsed, and barbarian hordes battered the borders. But then came Diocletian, the man who would save Rome by splitting it in two. He created the Tetrarchy, a system of 4 rulers who shared power and restored stability for a time, but the rot of division remained. The final act of Rome's story began with Constantine, the first Christian emperor. He won the Battle of Milvian Bridge after seeing a vision of the cross in the sky, legalized Christianity, and built a new capital in Constantinople. But even as Rome adopted a new faith, its western half was crumbling. In 410, the Visigoths sacked Rome, the first time the city had fallen in 800 years. The once mighty legions were gone, the forums were silent, and the empire that had once stretched from Britain to Syria was fracturing into chaos. The final blow came in 476 when a barbarian king named Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor, a boy named Romulus Augustulus. The name was a cruel irony: the empire that had once been founded by Romulus was now ruled by a child, stripped of power and glory. And so, the Roman Empire in the West fell, leaving behind a legacy of law, architecture, and governance that would shape the modern world. The Roman Empire's story is more than just history, it's a mirror held up to human nature. It shows how power can inspire greatness and unleash monsters, how ambition can build civilizations and destroy them. As the stones of the Colosseum crumble, they remind us that even the mightiest empires are built on sand, and that the cost of forgetting our lessons is repeating them. Like, share, subscribe for more stories.